Silly placement of the camera.
Big old butts.
She's a disaster. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Fans of United video podcast. I'm here with Chris Wimmer, of course, from Virginia Soccer News.
How's it going?
And Devon MacTavish, former pro with DC United. And I'm sure that, like us, you're all excited to be back in the swing of the second half of the season, right, Chris?
That's right, and it's an important second half. Even
Finally,
though they've been
right?
sliding.
What have we been doing all summer?
I know, really.
Just taking breaks.
Yeah, all-star
beach,
breaks,
going to the
international.
beach.
Yeah.
August is a month of high importance for the squad.
Absolutely.
It is.
After a spate of what I like to call meaningless games for international.
First meaningless game, right? DC United, PSG. I never saw an official attendance for that, but I did notice in the highlights.
A little over 13.
Oh, wait a minute. See, to me, the first meaningless game was the big DC United showing at the All-Star game versus Chelsea.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because there was a, you know, we had our boss there, right? You know,
Right.
Big
Yeah.
Ben.
There was a lot of DC United people there. I mean, from Benny to Pontius and Dayro to the coaching staff
Yeah,
and
I saw Pat Onset. I was up there, by the way.
training. Oh, you were? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I saw
You love
Chad
it up there in
Ashton.
Philly.
I do love it up there in Philly. It's a nice park. Saw Chad Ashton. Saw Pat Onstead.
Yeah.
I think I saw Andrew Minucci. I saw Ryan Trovanovich, however that's pronounced.
Yeah, I think you got it. I think
Yeah.
you nailed it.
Nice.
And the beautiful Dero cross to Pontius. Let's talk about the All-Star game for a second.
Yeah.
It was a circus. I mean, thank you very much for sending me a bumpy pitch. I had a great time chatting with Dunseth, the original winger. But it is a circus, man. It is a circus.
It looked, I mean, you know, for me, the All-Star game is kind of not really important.
Right.
I feel like it's just an extra game in the middle of a busy summer. And
It's meaningless game number
obviously,
one.
I never got invited to it, but just for, you know, it's just another game of just bad on the body, I feel like. You know, it's a bit of a risk to have in the
So
middle
a way
of
to make it more valuable, I think they need to go back to the old version, right? East versus West. Give it a little,
I do too.
you know, give it some more rivalry. It's great you're playing
Yeah.
Chelsea, but there's plenty of other opportunities now with the World Football Challenge and these summer internationals.
And make that mean something so that
Yeah.
that your conference somehow gets some sort of credit for
Right,
it.
and
you
then
know?
there's really no win. If you beat Chelsea, it's like, oh, well, you know, they're just taking it easy, traveling
Right,
around.
yeah.
If you lose to them, then, you know, the MLS haters come out. See, MLS isn't nearly as good,
Yeah.
so
Right.
you don't get
Can't
any
win.
advantage from it
Yeah.
anymore. It was
No.
great before, but now it's just a marketing tool for European teams, you know?
It is.
So let's
But
get it a...
Having said that, it was a great game.
It was a great game.
And I thought, you know, it was back and forth. I
Yeah.
thought actually the All-Stars for being a team, we'll credit Ben Olsen for that one.
Yeah.
Just thrown together in a couple days, but they look sharp together. And
It did a lot of good touches on the ball. I feel like they were trying to bring their A game to Chelsea. I really felt like everybody was like making passes that count and really like staying in communication. You had a lot of guys like looking up all the time.
Yeah.
And
It was good movement off the
It was good to see Pontius score, right? And then you see all the articles about all the big name teams he scored against, you know. That's got to be, I mean, if you're Pontius, you're thinking, you know, he knows about that. And
He
it's
likes to
keep a
rise
little
to the
tally, you
occasion.
know?
He does, yeah.
Right?
I was
And
there down on the sidelines, and he made a full field run, and he was just like busting ass, huffing and puffing, passing the guy from Chelsea. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
He came in and he certainly made a difference. And I was actually talking with a friend during the game, and he goes, Pontius is going to score, and it wasn't 2 minutes later that he scored. And
Cool.
so he knows soccer better than I do, obviously. But also, I mean, MVP. You know, he came
Coach's
in, he made
pick
a
too,
difference.
you know.
Sorry.
The coach's pick. Benny picked him to be on the roster, so to get
and
MVP,
he's
it
there.
makes
Benny
it,
looked
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like how he said in his post-game interview, so what did Ben tell you to do? And Pontius responded with nothing, really. I just went out there with a smile on my face and just played.
Well, good for him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was good to
absolutely.
see everybody talking more about DC United again.
Absolutely.
You know, it could have been a
Yeah.
time where people just kind of didn't talk about them. They hadn't been playing too well, so to get them back on the map, MLS map.
Super
was
positive
good, you
night
know?
for DC United.
It
Meaningless
was.
game
Can
number one.
Can we talk about Dero was back to his old self?
Yeah, I felt
You know,
like
a big stage like
yeah.
that, and he, again, nothing against Dero. I love it. I think he's one of the best players MLS has ever had. If not the, then. But I feel like past couple games he's kind of been, you know, he looks a little tired and fatigued.
exactly.
He does get up for big games against his old teams, against important games, New York, those kind of stuff.
Well, I hope at this point of the season he's had a minute to rest and kind of get back to form, and it definitely looked that way the other night in Philly, and then again on the PSG game. You know, I felt like he looked really good. He looked rested. He looked, like you said, I'd noticed him lacking a step and sometimes, you know, not going after those balls that I thought he should have gone after, which is, of course, easy for me to say because I'm sitting at home.
Everything's easy sitting on your couch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because I worried that maybe these extra games would be bad on him in the minutes, and I'm sure they don't help. But the confidence to the other side, you know, getting a goal, setting up your teammate, you know, doing well against Chelsea, holding your own against PSG, which, you know, maybe down the road that'll be a big accomplishment since PSG is kind of like a new team forming, you know.
A potential super club.
Right. So I mean, you definitely you don't want to lose to them, but you know, he seemed to be playing well again. So maybe that confidence will carry over back to the season. Yeah. They need it right now.
Yeah, we definitely need it right now.
And just to touch on the game, you know, Ibrahimovic, big name, right? Former AC Milan. Would you guys see he's like a top 10 player, or maybe not so much anymore? They paid him like one. It
seems that way, doesn't it? I mean, for the amount of attention that this transfer is getting, and the you know, the soccer community is giving to it, it definitely feels that way. Maybe who really needs an award is his agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the guy scored a huge deal.
But look at that goal. I mean, of course, one goal is one goal, but it was a beautiful clinic of skill in front of the goal.
He did look like he was toying with the defense a little, right? A little move here, a little move there, just a lob. So nonchalantly just throws it in the goal, you know? Yeah. Like he could have done it a million times that game if he wanted to.
If he wanted to. I think that's kind of thing with Ibrahimovic is if he wants to. You know, he's a phenomenal
It's crazy
talent,
to watch
obviously.
that, just to see that.
Yeah, he makes it look easy, and it's one of those things where he, you know, I feel like when he wants to play, he's the best player, could be the best player on the field at any time. So, you know, it was a good challenge for DC United to go against that. We don't have players like that in MLS per se. I mean, Thierry Henry was that player at one point, and while he's still a phenomenal player, he's not what he once was when he was 26, 27 years old.
Right. You got to step up your game when you play a guy like that, even just for respect factor.
You do,
you want this guy to destroy you. You know, you
yeah.
expect him to be good, but you don't want to be embarrassed. So.
Right.
Exactly.
Which we didn't. I felt like DC United acquitted themselves as well. Some of these internationals, you see them and it's blowout 5-0, 4-0. And it just looks like boys against men. I was really glad to see that this wasn't that.
Right.
So, sort of, to me, the lack of, I hate to say it like this, but the lack of failure is a success there for me with DC United and PSG.
I agree.
Well, it's you know, I mean, as Benny was talking about, they're not in good form right now. So if you have an opportunity to play a game that doesn't count, then you take it as a real game, and you try to work on things that you haven't been being good at, which is. You know, I thought it was a good performance. They kept the ball well. I mean, you know, PSG's in their first couple weeks of preseason, so they're not exactly game fit, but they kind of sat back a little bit more than I expected, I guess. But it was one of those things. It was a good exercise for the guys. You know, Diro got 45 minutes, which I was glad to see. Just get out there, sprint around for a little bit, get some touches, and then scoring a goal, which always helps your confidence. And then, you know, he's done. Nice weekend, and you know, get ready for Columbus.
Yeah, absolutely.
On somewhat of like a hopeful side note, I'm looking at PSG and how they're building this super team, and they're kind of coming out of nowhere. You know, I mean, PSG's been a team, but not how they are right now and what they're trying to be. And then I think back to a few weeks ago, right, with Tohir and Jason Levian, and I'm thinking maybe that's the model they're looking for. You know? And you start to imagine maybe MLS teams can start to do these summer tours, or winter tours, off-season tours. Yeah.
Well, like the Galaxy already do.
Yeah, get out there. I mean, that's what they talk about. But
the Galaxy or Beckham does.
Enough marketing European teams here. Let's get our name and stuff out there, you know.
I heard they're going to rename them the Beckhams.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
The LA Beckhams,
And he buys them.
So, a couple player notes. DC signed a Brazilian midfielder from Fluminense, Rafael Augusto. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, that was just announced like yesterday, right?
It's always positive to sign a Brazilian midfielder, right?
Yeah, it can't hurt.
I mean, you know, give him 5 months or so.
Yeah. He's on loan, some fresh legs maybe.
Yeah, and you know, you can always use depth at any position. And you know my position on this is that anytime you're getting a Brazilian, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, we've obviously had some luck with Brazilians, Luciano Emilio, Golden Boot winner, but you know, there's been some shortfalls as well.
Our guy Fred.
I love Fred.
I love Fred too.
Off and on. Fred was good sometimes and bad others.
He came in and his first season was phenomenal, and
he had a lot of joy to the club. You know,
he did.
To an observer.
He was a lot of fun to play with, and I mean, I think when Christian left, he kind of, I mean, between him, Jaime, and Fred and Luciano, I mean, that was quite a foursome that we had up top. We scored a lot of goals that year, but you know, he went back to the Australian League and seems to be doing really well back there. Maybe that's home for him.
I saw Fred jersey at PPL Park. And going back to that for 1 second, I was stunned by how many blue jerseys I saw at PPL Park.
They're a huge brand.
I couldn't believe how much Chelsea merch is out there.
Yeah, it's ton.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was half a stadium full.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're definitely good at marketing in the States, that's for sure.
They are.
It
They are.
doesn't hurt to win the Champions League either, you know.
But of
Right.
course,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So.
mean, they're a pretty formidable group of people, with or without Didier Drogba, who I personally am a big fan of his soccer play.
He's a beast.
Yeah, absolutely.
In every sense. I mean, he's just a phenomenal player. That is tough to stop.
Yeah.
Rumored to be coming to MLS eventually.
Exactly.
Also.
Now,
would love to see that.
Segueing from rumored to be coming to MLS, your Ukrainian boy, Shevchenko, just officially retired yesterday.
I have to officially retire my source.
Yeah.
We should officially retire his source over there, right?
Yeah.
He was 100% sure on that, and obviously wasn't happening. So
look, I always trust Goff. You know? If Goff says it, I'm in. If there's a dichotomy between opinions, if Goff says one thing, I'll side with Goff. He's more right than he is more wrong.
He knows his thing.
I don't think he could be more inside than that guy.
Yeah, that's why he's the insider.
It's good stuff. Andy Nahar is having an amazing little Olympic run. Just helped knock Spain out of the tournament, out of the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean,
we miss him, but it's good to see
win
him.
the gold medal, and they walk out.
Yeah.
Maybe Andy Nahar has plans for making the gold medal, you know?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things going on in the Olympics you don't see coming.
Right.
You know, there are a lot of powerhouses that just aren't stepping up. So I'm really liking the Olympics for that, because it's kind of like, it's sort of a wild card situation. You've got a lot of super clubs, well, I should say nations, that usually do super well in the World Cup that are just sort of settling out. And then you've got like UAE, United Arab Emirates. Have you seen any of their games?
No, I haven't, but
they're phenomenal. I mean, they were playing yesterday and looked crazy good against Britain until Britain finally woke up. Yeah, but I mean, they play with
some
a lot
of
of
those uniforms got to go though. Those Great Britain uniforms look pretty tacky.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get all these fancy Olympic uniforms. They just stick with the classic ones, you know.
I was glad to see that somebody had uniforms that were worse than ours.
Yeah.
And I like the stars. I like the barrel stripes. I'm a big fan of Santos Lagunas, and I always like the barrel stripes.
I love the barrel stripes.
Yeah.
But
I like them better with the dark lettering, so you can actually read the names.
Oh, see, that's where you're wrong.
Really?
See, yeah, the light numbers.
Yeah.
Or the stealth numbers. Like, I thought you were covering number 8. I thought that was number 8.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But getting back to Andy, it's we were speaking about this. It's a global stage, and teams like Spain, those players, if you're under 23 and you play for Spain, you're already on a big time club.
Yeah, probably.
In these smaller countries, Honduras, less well-known soccer countries, United Arab Emirates.
It's time to shine.
It's your stage. This is where I get to prove to the world that I can play this game.
And that the club that brought you up, the academy system and the club you play for is no joke,
Yeah.
Here you are on this international stage, and you've been training with DC United, and for all the people that say, MLS training is not the same, well, here's this guy. There's three MLS players on the Honduras team too, and they're showing that they got good training. They're quality players,
Did you read that there were Arsenal scouts and Tottenham scouts watching
That's
Andy
what I
yesterday?
worry about, though, because I'm a real proponent for MLS and keeping the players here, and I worry about young guys like Andy going over there and doing well and being,
I've thought a lot about that. First of all, that's something that's going to go beyond our control, but I think it's really good, actually, for MLS players to go up to the highest level, just as we're bringing over European players to play at the MLS. And it's apples and oranges. I don't think we can compare EPL and MLS yet.
Yeah.
So I think it only grows the game, and it's only good for American soccer as a whole when you have the Clint Dempseys, when you have, bless his heart,
I just dream of the day of keeping the best players here and be able to watch them on a regular basis.
I hear you.
I know it's respect, and it's good, and that's what they want. Every player wants to challenge themselves and play at the highest league.
Well,
but I want the highest league to be in the U.S.
I think it's good.
Of course.
I think it's good for American soccer. To have them go to EPL. I mean, I know it hurts.
Yeah.
When the national team players aren't playing in the States, we can't see our boys.
Right.
But I honestly think that in the bigger picture, it's better for American soccer as a whole.
Yeah. It's good to see him doing well, like you said, in the
Olympics.
Olympics.
Awesome.
And good for Andy, and hopefully they medal. It'd be great.
Up, right?
Yeah.
Keep it up, Andy. I know you're watching.
Good job, Andy. Nice job.
So we won't have Andy, but up next, we will be having a chance to redeem ourselves, or actually the players, not us. We'll just be cheering them on against Columbus. A team that they lost 1-0 July 21st.
Let's talk about that. Going back to the crew.
It was horrible. They should have won, and they need to win again. And this will be it starts off the month of August, so we talked about. It's a really difficult month,
It's
and
crucial.
it's it's a make or break month.
Yeah.
And to start that off, why not a game where you can get some revenge and show, like, we did get some confidence back in these meaningless but important games for us to build our confidence. So come back. They'll be at home.
Yeah.
They need to just squash the Crew. I don't.
So next up, Columbus Crew.
Columbus Crew, right?
The game that's a must-win.
Absolutely.
Chance to redeem yourself, much needed chance to show that the non-important games, that they did pick up some confidence, and that they're ready to come back and finish strong. A strong month, August is important, make or break. So, and I think that not just beating the Crew, but you're going to be at home. I think they need to crush them. I think it's either like a 3-0 whooping or like a 1 or 2-0 game where maybe the score isn't that big of a disparity, but they just dominate them on the field. They absolutely have to dominate them and show them they're ready for August.
I agree with you. You're saying something crucial there. I think even more important than the score line is this is a game where we need to show that we can control the play.
Right.
This is time for DC United to, all those transitions need to matter.
Yeah.
Shutting down their passing lanes, clogging their attempts to go forward, and stifling that. Score early and often, sure, but I mean more than that to me is going to be like time of possession, completed passes, smooth transitions, and finishing in the final third. It's time to show what the new form is. I'm looking at this as the beginning of the second half of the season.
Exactly.
This is like the reboot.
Yeah. There's not going to be any more breaks like there have been.
Right.
Yeah, from here on out, they can kind of get in a rhythm, and it all starts with Columbus at home, which is, we've touched on it before. It's not who you play; it's when you play them.
Exactly.
And Columbus is hot right now. They've won 2 in a row. Actually won in Kansas City, which is coming
Tough
from
to
behind,
do,
which is not an easy thing to do.
Hard
So,
to do.
they seem to be finding their rhythm a little bit themselves, whereas DC is in the starting blocks again.
Yeah,
right.
Sputtering a bit.
Exactly. So, I think you guys are exactly right. You need to come out from the get-go and keep possession of the ball.
Yeah.
And if you can get a goal in the first 15 minutes, that puts Columbus on their heels right away. And for me, it's the 50-50 balls too. It's the Perry Kitchens and the B-Max and the Yakovic are back there, setting the tone.
Yeah.
Danny Cruz and De Leon getting back to what they were doing earlier in the season.
Yeah, it's we can touch on De Leon, but it's one of those things where it's time to start playing again. It's tough to play 3 games in a month and 1 game doesn't count.
Cue noisy airplane.
Thank you, U.S. Airways.
Yes.
U.S. Airways. We don't
Not
usually
a
have one
sponsor
behind
of
us.
our show, but maybe one day.
That was pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
So De Leon, it's difficult to, when you're a young player. I mean, he went from the college season to having basically a month off to joining preseason.
Yeah.
And so, he was in his rhythm, and then he got injured, unfortunately. This is what happens. And it's tough to find your rhythm again, and the only way of doing that is by playing games, and DC hasn't been playing games. So he's still a wonderful talent, and he'll find his feet again before the end of the season. And but not to say he's been playing bad at all by any means, but
well, not nearly as well as he had been.
Of course,
he shot out of there like a rocket. Him and Danny Cruz carried the team for a while until they could get their chemistry together.
I think a lot of people have high expectations
so
because of the strong start from both of those guys. And also, they were kind of working as a unit for a while, and you're right. It'd be nice to see some of that getting back, but also, I'd like to see some production from Neil Lewis. He's a player who'd been on the rise a little bit there. Slowly getting minutes, and then after his start, he didn't do so well. But he's a player who can make a signitigant difference.
It might have been an out of position start for him though. So
in Columbus, that was
it's an interesting midfield.
We're in at practice. We don't know what he's been doing, but I was touching on or thinking about Emilio Dudar too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fit.
Right.
He's been on the bench. He just hasn't been getting time, and from the games that we saw him early in the year, he was a force to be reckoned with, as they say. And, controlled.
He was really strong.
You'd like to see B-Mac, Dudar, Yakovic back there. Russell, if he can get back from his injury.
Yeah.
That's a strong force on back there. Otherwise, it's kind of makeshift.
And Daniel Willard had a good game at PSG.
He's probably had a great season for him.
He has.
Way higher than
super
his
solid.
expectations, I'm sure.
Kind of under the radar as a guy, like week after week.
Look at the type of guy he is, though. He doesn't want any attention.
Right. Well, I notice a lot of the defenders can have a super capable season, getting all 90 minutes, and basically be under everybody's radar.
Yeah. That's if you're not scoring goals, you're not in the headlines. So,
Yeah.
What about a player perspective, looking at a month like August, knowing you haven't been in the playoffs for a while, you've been as high as first place, and then quickly dropping back down, and so now the goal, like you said, second half, you're just zeroing in, you want to make the playoffs, you know. And then do you look ahead at the month? Are you still going game to game, or are you saying this is a serious month? You know, like what's the talk in the locker? What are these guys thinking? You know, on TV they're going to say, you know, one game at a time, but
right. No, I mean, they know the schedule. You know,
right.
they know how important this time of year is. You know, August is where you make moves, and
yeah.
So for them, they know what lies ahead. But at the same time, they're only thinking about Columbus, and that's the coaching staff to keep them focused on Columbus and one team at a time.
Right.
So, you know, they know they're playing at home where they've, you know, knock on wood, had a good record so far this season besides the hiccup against Kansas City in the first game.
Yeah.
And,
unlucky, really.
And yeah, it was a bit unlucky. What, 93rd, 94th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goal, you know?
A little bit.
But it's one of those things. If you don't walk away with 3 points playing at RFK, then you know you don't think you've had a good night at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
Well, it's definitely that time where fans need some redemption on exactly that front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know, Columbus was a game everybody felt like we should have won, but I'm going to temper that because it's really hard to go into somebody else's field, go into somebody else's home advantage.
It's not difficult traveling and playing in this, on the road in this league.
But you know, this is where it all comes home. You know, no pun intended.
Right.
No, it is though, because 4 of the
RFK.
6 games in August are at home.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know, it seemed like there was one month, was it June, where we never saw them. Right?
Yeah.
It seemed like I want to go to a game again already. You
Yeah.
know, the few games they had, it kind of rained out, so you know, it seemed like I could never go to a game. Now there's 4 games, but there's also 4 games against 4 of the 6 teams have winning records.
Yeah,
so it's not, you know, it's not an easy month. It's loaded. 6 games in a month is kind of a lot.
It is.
And then you just kind of look
it's
at
a long month.
You look at the record, and right now the Crew is not in the playoff hunt because it's the top 5 from each division this year.
Yeah.
So they're just on the outside looking in, but they are hot and they're trying to get in. And you know, a win against United would be huge to help them.
Yeah.
Then you go at Sporting, Kansas City again, which is a really difficult team. Then you come back and you got the Union.
Let's stop there for a second. It's
Okay.
not just a difficult team, that's a difficult field. Livestrong Park, you know, everything is weighted there against us. You know?
Yeah, they've done a phenomenal job of making home field advantage.
They have, and that's going to be, that's going to be a harder game than it ought to be.
Well, they're a top team in the East for sure, you know, battling.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they're firing, they've got so much, they've got super deep potential between
Kai
Kamara, Teal Bunbury, CJ Sapong, Rookie of the Year. And let's not forget MLS All-Star Graham Zusi, man.
Yep.
That guy can...
Maryland guy.
He can whip it into the box, and he can also shoot from the top of the box.
Yeah.
Super dangerous, fluid player.
With a cool name.
Zuzi's pretty sweet name.
Yeah,
dude.
I kind of like that name.
Teal's a cool name.
Yeah, Teal's good, yeah.
Sounds like a British guy, doesn't
I like that Graham Zusi sounds European. I don't know why.
Zusi.
I think he should have his hair in the back and a ponytail playing for Italy.
I want to say it with like some H's in there, like Zuzi.
There you go. Add a little Spanish flair.
All right.
So then you have the Union. Always, no matter, you know.
They've been hot too.
And it even doesn't matter if their Union are no good, if United's no good, it's Union DC, you know. It's the highway.
Yeah, it's kind of our new rivalry.
Right,
if
exactly.
New York is our old rivalry, I feel like Philly's our new rivalry.
And as much as we like their stadium, I hate them for having it, and we don't, you know. So.
But the Sons have been, I looked at them and I was like, weak, you guys, weak. I mean, like District Ultras are bigger than you. And we have the Screaming Eagles, the Barra Brava, District Ultras, Norte.
Lucky Brats.
You know, I mean,
get a nice new stadium. You don't even know what it's like.
Yeah, and they're up there. The funniest thing was when they were chanting Bridget Nielsen at Jimmy Nielsen, the goalie. Yeah.
I just thought it was cool that the Sons of Ben came out for a team coached by Ben Olsen.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that was good. That was very good.
Continuing on August, middle of August, near you got the Fire. Winning record, but you just never know what you get with that team, Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
A middle of the road team, but a winning record nonetheless, so dangerous.
Yeah.
Travel to Montreal.
They're not really catching fire so far. Now, Montreal is a team on the rise.
Right.
I mean, honestly. And with or without Nesta, I sort of felt like they were, but now that they've signed Nesta, they're going to be... You got to put an asterisk.
They're not content with being like a new bottom of the barrel kind of team. They definitely want to still
their stars rising.
Waves, you know?
They were Yves Galarsep's Team of the Week.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. You get to meet them right in August. Great.
Yeah.
Great timing, right? Just what you want. A team with a losing record that's on their way up and adding international players.
I feel like DC is one of those teams that sort of rises to who they're playing when we're having a good day.
That's kind of been the trend lately, hasn't it? Yeah, it has, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it should be. You're right. We should be dictating.
You want to destroy the teams you should. Well, nothing's more annoying as a fan or frustrating than thinking like we should beat the Crew,
Yeah.
and then you don't,
Beat the
and
Crew.
you're watching them on Sunday, just so aggravated, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then they finish up this month of August, the make or break month, with the Red Bulls. Totally loaded, cahill's more and more players. Tim Cahill's official now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, Thierry Henry's back.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Henry's
so
healthy.
talk
yeah.
about dangerous. As dangerous as Kansas City is, New York's twice as dangerous.
I know. And I saw Thierry Henry in person the other day, and
He's a beast, right?
he
Guy's
is. He
massive.
is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, much respect to Thierry Henry. You know, everybody wants to bash him and everything. He's an amazing soccer player.
Yeah,
don't
he's a
wanna bash
classy guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if he picked up a nagging injury when he had to play DC.
Yeah.
He's my wife's favorite player.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Thierry Henry.
We go into this month, and you know, I saw an article stressing the depth of United. A lot of the teams, New York Red Bulls. I mean, a lot of the teams are making moves, getting, you know, even deeper.
Yeah,
Right.
transfer window, yeah.
And you know, it's one of those things. We picked up a Brazilian, 21-year-old Brazilian. It's kind of a roll of the dice.
Yeah,
take a
He might
gamble.
work out, he
Nobody
might
knows.
not.
Yeah.
But those are the safe moves. I don't know if I like those so much.
So
where you
yeah,
kind of say like, well,
you
he
guys
could end up.
expect do you want someone else to be picked up? I mean,
I'd like a bigger name signing. We got the
Yeah.
money now. I mean, it doesn't have to be like the hugest name, but a
I don't
big
know
name.
if we have the money. I mean, it's very clouded.
Right, but I
What-
think a move like this Brazilian guy is a safe move, right? So you pick him up. There's no expectations or very little's known about him. He does well, it's a win-win, right?
Mhm.
If he doesn't do well, you say, oh well, we just were checking him out anyway. you
Yeah.
know? I want them to kind of go out on a limb a little bit and take a chance.
Yeah. Well,
Show
before
that
two,
they're ready to make the playoffs.
Before our two losses, we were very happy with our roster.
I just
We're
brought
just
it up.
telling.
I'm still
Yeah.
happy with the roster.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
No,
see
but
what
in
you
the
guys are
transfer
thinking.
market, though, if you're comparing to what other teams are doing, I have to agree that
Well,
I'd like them
yeah.
to take a bigger risk and show
Right.
more to the fans. You know, this is a little bit different. You know, we are kind of going out there and doing something we haven't done before. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll
Right.
see, though. Maybe they don't need to. Maybe Ben's confident. You know.
Would it be good for DC United to have a franchise player coming in? Maybe yes, maybe no. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, with the new ownership, I don't know how deep their checkbooks are,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure we still don't have the money that Red Bulls does.
Right.
To make a big name signing like that, but I'm happy with the team. You know, I think they've shown what they're capable of, and it's just a matter of reaching that point again.
Yeah.
And you know, they can certainly make the playoffs with the teams with the guys they have in the roster in the locker room right now.
Playoffs is the ultimate goal, isn't it?
It is, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
what it's about.
It's never about making the playoffs. It's about doing damage in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
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 But
When
having
you've been
said
out for
that,
so long.
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's about making the playoffs this
Yeah.
year, and right now we're in it. But I mean, our current form doesn't mean that we'll be in it for.
Well, you know, they always say about the
Two more weeks,
playoffs, too,
but-
it's like a whole new season. So you just want to get there, and
Yeah.
then you worry about it when you get there. Right?
Yeah.
Of course.
You'd
Yeah,
like to be
get your
riding
foot there.
momentum as you go in. You'd like to have a strong season and think it can carry over, but you can't win in the playoffs unless you make it there. So got to get to the playoffs.
And the last thing I'm going to say about putting money on a designated player, I hope we're saving up for a stadium. Okay, I think that the transfer window has come and gone now, right? And I think that
Right.
new partners knew that and approached it
Yeah.
with an open mind. And it looks to me like what they're doing is they're trying to pull resources towards the next step of a new stadium. Because
Yeah.
with a new stadium, I think it's much easier to draw a DP at that point.
Right.
You know, and hopefully, that will create the whole momentum, the sports entertainment momentum. It'll be a living social park or something. You know.
Well, they met
Yeah.
with Vincent Gray already twice, so that's good. And speaking of the Olympics, we totally almost dismissed it with Indonesia. Did you see who walked out as the leader of their group?
Eric Tohier was out there at the
it was
opening
nice to see him
ceremony.
on there. I was telling my parents
Yeah.
I was all excited. That's
Yeah.
the new owner.
That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's cool to see him, another international stage. So this Olympics might be great for DC United.
Yeah.
Andy Nahar, Eric
Well, I know
Tohier.
he's having a great time. He keeps tweeting pictures from
Oh, okay.
Olympic Village, and he
Nice.
tweeted something where the only word in English was badminton. So I knew I could tell he was having a great time.
Good.
He's a neat guy. And did you see that somebody presented Jason Levian with a machete the other night?
Oh,
at
good,
the PSG?
good. So he
He's
can
out in the parking lot with a big machete.
help him get that stadium you're talking about.
Well, if nothing else, that metaphor is
yeah,
stuck.
I know,
so,
from his conference.
yeah,
That's good.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about Pele Sports
Right.
for a minute.
Our new
Hang on one
sponsor.
second. Look at this.
Boom.
This, I believe, is the Pele
Trinity 3E.
Trinity 3E.
Yes.
One of the lightest boots that I've ever personally held, and this is an amazing shoe. Tell me about this, Chris.
Super light. Pele is generous enough to give us a few pairs of these to
Pele himself.
Pele Sports.
Yeah.
Well, he is associated with them.
Yeah.
As you can tell with the black and white. We have a black color and a white color. And so they gave us these, $200 value. They put a lot of technology into these, and they're still continuing to do so. They want to make the fastest boot out there, you know.
So we have some of these to give away, and we held a contest. Do we have a winner, Chris?
We do have a winner. The winner is, yes, the drum roll.
Look at that.
Sorry if I mispronounce the names.
They do look good.
Keiko Mori was the winner.
Keiko Mori?
Yeah.
The Keiko Mori?
Yeah, you know,
Awesome.
the one and only. And the trivia
Congratulations.
question of one was Devon MacTavish's first official MLS
Can't believe
appearance.
anyone knew that.
A lot of people knew that. We've got our whole list of people right here that knew that. So thank you everybody for
Awesome.
for participating, and
Congratulations,
we'll be
Keiko
sending
Mori.
out a pair of Pele Sport Trinity shoes to Keiko Mori. So be sure to send us an email or
Is it
get us
Keiko or is
some.
it
CACO. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
maybe
not
we'll have to
good
dub
with
this
that.
back in.
Right. So, but they're the winner. We also have these Pele Sports shirts.
Yeah, look at that.
Super cool.
We'll be
I just
giving those
don't
away.
have mine on so we don't look like we're a band from the 60s.
They're
in
nice.
red
It's
uniforms.
pretty warm out here, Chris, and I feel like it's breathing pretty good.
It's a great shirt. A little
Yeah, it's
stylish. Has the one and only Pele on the front, of course.
I like the graphics. Very cool. Super cool.
Right, and so it's great to have our first official sponsor. We appreciate Pele Sports for giving us all this gear, and then we can in turn give it all to everybody that's been loyal to us and
All right.
follows along, and kind of get you guys to participate and follow along more with us. So we'll be giving it away. The first question for one of the shirts is going to be, since we're talking about the playoffs, how important they. When was the last playoff win for DC United? So give us the date and who they played. And the second part of that question for the second shirt is let us know who scored in that game for DC United. So we'll get these shirts out to you. We have a red one, a blue one, and a black one that Eric's not wearing, but that we have for him. And we'll get those out to you guys in appreciation for listening.
All right.
And don't forget, we're on North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV now. And this is our third video podcast. Thanks very much to Eric Hunsaker for everything.
Hollywood.
Yeah, you don't get to see all the behind-the-scenes footage right now, but there's a lot of work, trust me.
Yeah, we'll do a making of it sometime.
But none of us do, but we sit back and appreciate all that Eric does.
One of these days I'm going to bring one of my helpers and he can do it all for us.
That's good, that's good.
And you'll see his name at the beginning as producer. Hey, I got a couple shout-outs.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the shout-outs. I want to give a big shout-out to the DC United women. Congratulations on a great
run.
season.
Definitely.
Super
Good work,
badass
ladies.
Leanne Sanderson.
Yes.
Danielle Malgari, Coach Mike Jordan, Coach Cindy Harks.
The whole program.
Yeah, Joanne Lehman,
Good job.
Haley, all the other girls whose names I'm not saying right now. We're so super proud of you as fans of United. You guys had a great season, and I couldn't be more proud. So congratulations.
Good job,
Yes,
ladies.
definitely. And shout out, we got Devon's Play on the Pitch tournament. Don't
Yes.
forget, playonthepitch.com. We have a Fans United team. We're looking to 4 to 9 players, co-ed players, to come join us. Maybe if you're lucky, we have an extra pair of Pele boots for you if you show up. But get signed up. Don't wait. Just do it now so that we can get our team and start bragging, raising the money that we need to raise to help out the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Well deserved.
Come on, show us what you got.
Definitely.
And come see what we got. See if we're just full of hot air, if we actually got any skills.
Yeah, come join us.
I
Have
mean,
a
you
good
put
time.
these Pele boots on. I know you guys are gonna have skills.
There you go.
All right.
And you could
That's
win
all up.
and play on RFK, And if we get the new stadium, like we've talked about before, it might be one of the last times you actually get to play on there.
Yeah,
so
I know. Take a
could
little,
be a little nostalgia.
take a
with
little
it.
dirt or
yeah.
something from the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful
Just
though,
don't
like
tell
Eric says,
anyone
they
about
watch that pretty tough. Very.
All right, at the now historic RFK.
Yes,
So yeah,
soon to be.
So get your applications in. That's playonthepitch.com.
What is it?
It's playonthepitch.com.
There we go.
It's for a good cause.
Any other shout outs, guys?
I do to Longbridge Park. Phenomenal shout out to this beautiful park
Yeah,
here.
we
and,
almost forgot to say we're at Longbridge Park. What a great facility, part of Arlington Parks and Recreation. It's a beautiful place. Anybody would be proud to play here.
We're trying to be.
All right.
And also, if there's any soccer foundation or organization out there that you guys want me to help promote, I can rock a T-shirt on our next podcast.
Awesome.
Vodcast. I think we should call it a vodcast.
Vodcast,
He's been
yes.
calling it a vodcast.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah.
vodcast. Vodcast
So-
it is.
Vodcast number
Let there
4.
be
The sooner the
vodcast.
better,
Yeah, so just, so just let any of us know and send us a shirt, and I will gladly wear it.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you the next time.
All right.